is going on? But most importantly, after these articles started coming out, dozens of students started reaching out to me and started telling me about their stories, and all of them were in the exact same situation I was in before I left school, where they had discovered something they were extremely passionate about, but they really struggled to get support around that. And they felt like a misfit, and they weren't sure what to do next. And I realized that I had to move hundreds of miles away from home to find the community that I always wish I had in my backyard. But I was lucky enough to be in a situation and in a society that allowed something like that to happen. I mean, yeah, not too many people do this in America, but like I was actually able to like get money and like make a job and like go on an actual path that made sense. And the reality of the situation is most people aren't in a situation that allows that. So I decided I needed to drop everything to do something about this, including what felt like my dream job. Because if I didn't, who would? Right? I mean, it's not like the world was not built for ambitious teenagers, but they exist and they always have existed. The support just hasn't existed. And I was in a unique situation where I could actually try to do something about it. So I was thinking about it, and I realized that for me, everything came down to community. Everything came down to finding people like me that got me really excited about the world. I'm a big believer in the idea that you are the median or the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And for me, it took me almost a decade from my first line of code to finally meeting other people that felt like my tribe. So then I had an idea, which is, well, what if you could help high school students start the communities they wanted to be a part of inside of their high schools directly? And if the people don't exist for that, because usually there aren't too many people in high schools in America that know how to code, create them, teach them to code, get them excited about the world, give them the hacker ethos. And then what if you connected those people together so they're not just an isolated community at their school, but they're part of something a lot bigger than themselves, where they're meeting other people from other schools in person, and they're meeting people across the country in person. And that's when I decided to start Hack Club. So Hack Club is a nonprofit network of high school computer science clubs. We help students start life-changing computer science clubs at their schools. These are student-led groups, usually led by 2 to 3 students. There are no teachers involved. That usually consists of 15 to 25 members, and in each meeting, students learn how to code through building projects. So by the end of the first meeting, you have your first website online. By the end of the third, you've built your first game. I really think most methods of learning to code can be broken down into 2 categories. One is where you're learning by the textbook, where you start by asking what are the fundamentals, and then you learn those and you slowly work your way up the complexity scale. What is a variable? What is a type? What is a function? What is a class? What is a web service? Slowly work your way up. And what's great about this method is it's really easy to teach, because all you have to ask is, well, what are the other concepts you need to know to accomplish a goal? But the downside of this method is that you can take a computer science class that's a year long, and you can go out of it and still not know how to build a website. And I don't know about for all of you, but I really believe that coding is the closest thing we have today to a superpower. Programming is amazing because it lets you go out and do things that wouldn't have been possible 20 or 50 years ago. But our classes where we teach computer science today not only don't exist in most high schools in America, when they do exist, they don't embody that at all. Students sign up wanting to learn how to build apps, and they're literally tested every week by taking out a physical piece of paper and writing Java in their hands, and they're judged on whether they forgot a semicolon on line 14. That's not what programming is about. And Hack Club is the exact opposite. So our clubs do things that no regular clubs in high schools do. They run workshops for their community. They run hackathons with hundreds of attendees. What's cool about Hack Club is you really are part of this community, where if you're a member, you meet the people at your local high school, but you also start interacting with people on our online Slack. We have a Slack with about 3,000 people on it. So you're talking with people from all around the world that share your interests. And then if you do ever end up traveling for hackathons, which a lot of our students end up doing, there are a bunch of collegiate hackathons at almost all the universities in the US. And if you get into them, and a lot of them accept high school students, they will fly you out. They'll pay for your ticket. So what's cool is actually this weekend, like right now as I'm speaking, we have about 25 students at the University of Pennsylvania's hackathon, and all of them have flown in for that, and they're doing a meetup together, where you're meeting other people for the first time that they've been talking to on Slack. And what's cool about this is the impact of Hack Club goes a lot deeper than just teaching people skills. If you ask someone from Hack Club what they got out of the experience, they're gonna say a lot more than just I learned a new skill. In Hack Club, you're exposed to people like you for the first time in your life. And the stories our leaders tell us is that in the process of starting a hack club, in the process of learning to code with a community, they learned to be. They realized that they were a real person that mattered. They realized that ambition isn't something that you should suppress. They realized that, yeah, the world can be a messed up place, but if you don't do anything about it, part of that responsibility falls on you. And I think a lot of this comes down to starting a hack club and being a part of a hack club is very similar to starting anything else in the real world. Whether it's starting a company, whether it's starting a nonprofit, whether it's starting an organization for good. When you start a hack club, all you need to do are two things. The first is make something people want, and two is get it in front of the right people in the right way. But doing that is really, really, really challenging. And you have to learn, how do you build a team? How do you get people excited about a mission? How do you make something so deeply ingrained in someone's identity that if you took it away from them, a part of them would be missing? And our leaders learn that when they start hack clubs, and members as they go up the ranks learn that too. Hack Club is really the program I wish I had as a student. I don't think I would have dropped out if I had this at my high school. And the reason I say that is I think we drastically underestimate 14-year-olds. I think that, again, there are all these ambitious young people, and if we don't support them, if we don't do everything we can to help them do incredible things, we are actively pushing down potential. I believe in a future that is student-led. I think that not only should we put students at the center of the learning experience, we should literally put them in charge of the learning experience. And that really is what Hack Club is. It's not about computer science, it's not about programming, it's not about hacking. It's about a new model of schooling, where students are teaching other students, where you learn in a community, where there is no hierarchy, where when you fail it's okay because there's a community that supports you. And you don't have to worry about impressing someone. Everyone's there because they genuinely want to be there. It's always opt-in. So we launched Hack Club about 2.5 years ago, and we've grown to 2% of high schools in the United States. So we're starting to grow internationally, but as you can see, it's almost entirely in the US. But in the US, we're in a couple hundred high schools. We have about 3,000 students that attend the clubs every week. We have about 10,000 people that came to the club events last year. And what's cool is it's starting to become a community that's growing on its own. And really what I want to see is, I want to see this density that we have here, all over here and everywhere else. I think that Hack Club is something that every young person should have the opportunity to be a part of. And also, I don't think it just has to be about coding. What if people started hack clubs for writing or for art or for other subjects? I think we have a really unique ability in our schools to take young people's curiosity and kill it. When we go out and when we teach English and literature, we figure out how to ruin Shakespeare. When we go out and we teach math, we figure out how to create a generation that's allergic to numbers. And I think all of us, as people that are interested in educating the next generation with programming, we have a responsibility to make sure that we don't do the same thing with programming. Because this is special. This stuff changes lives. And if we mess it up, who's going to fix it? And I think the bigger picture is Hack Club is starting to be part of something that's a lot bigger than just Hack Club. I think that we're starting to see a movement of young people that are realizing that they can improve their situations for themselves. They can step up, and when they see problems in their communities, they can be the ones that fix it. And actually, part of the reason I'm so excited to be here today with all of you is like CoderDojo Japan is doing exactly that, right? Like, this is a group of people that are stepping up and being the difference you want to see in your communities. So I'm really interested in the question of, well, how can we empower people to empower others? Because that is really what CoderDojo is about, and that's really what Hack Club is about. So thank you. That's a bit of background on me, and then that's a bit of background on Hack Club, and I can dig into the program and kind of how it works if that'd be helpful. Cool.